one big honkin' pepper. They sure make nice tuna boats. Time to eat lunch. Greetings, this is Spec Ops 56 and my faithful cameraman John Toe, and it's time for a garden update on my container garden. It's looking a lot more pitiful than the last time you saw it. But this late in the season, some of this stuff is starting to die back and die off. I'll just kind of go around and talk about each plant now. You see my window boxes and my my tumbler here. For whatever reason, I just didn't get around to replanting any carrots or radishes in them. I plan to do that, hopefully get to that this coming week, so I can try to get some more of that. Here is where my cucumber plant used to be. It had been producing, you know, 1 or 2 cucumbers at a time along and along. Well, one day, about a month or so ago, all of a sudden it started turning yellow, and within 2 days it had turned completely yellow and then died completely. I haven't got a clue why. I saw no evidence of insects of any kind. I don't know of any kind of disease that does that, but it just died, so I pulled it out and moved the cage over here to this tomato plant. And now most of my tomato plants, with the exception of that one, were all bush tomato plants. And bush tomato plants, the way they work is they'll grow and then they'll produce, and then, pretty much for a short period of time, and then they're done, and then they're dead. And this one, I believe, has come to the end of its life cycle, so I'll be pulling it up. Yeah, maybe later. Okay, now my mints, they started going brown and dying off. Been like that for several weeks. Now all of a sudden they're starting to come back, getting all green and bushy and starting to spread out again. I've never grown mint before, so I don't know if that's normal or not, but I'll keep watering and feeding it as long as it keeps growing and being green. Over here we have one of my pepper plants. This is the tangerine pepper plant, and it has consistently been producing all season long. Quite a few of these little peppers. So hopefully it will keep doing that for a while. We have another little bush tomato plant here, and this one I think is just about done. You can see it's got these little tomatoes here. Thing of it is that that's all it's producing now are these little runts. But before, the normal tomatoes it was producing were about that big. So that's why I think this one is probably just about at the end of its life cycle. It's turning brown. When it finishes turning brown and it's no longer producing anything, I'll be pulling that out. Then we come to my bigger bush tomatoes, and parts of it have been turning brown for quite a while now, and so I think that it is probably just about near the end of its life cycle. The few tomatoes that it's producing are the same thing. They're basically little cherry tomatoes when they should be full size, slicing tomatoes. I was almost ready to start pulling it up until I noticed that this one at least has started producing more flowers. So I'm hoping that that's a sign that it isn't quite done yet, and I'll be getting some more full-size tomatoes. Well, we'll come on around here. The strawberries, they're not producing any more strawberries. As you can see, the strawberry plants are starting to go brown, starting to go dormant, getting ready for the winter. So before the first frost comes, I'll be covering those over with a thick layer of straw and probably bringing them into the garage when it gets really cold. My squash plant. My squash plant never did produce very well. It produced a lot of stems, a lot of leaves, and I ended up getting 2 squash out of it, you know, over the whole summer. And then a lot of the leaves and stems started turning brown. So I trimmed it off, trimmed off all the dead looking stuff, and it seems to be coming back. And it looks like I'm going to have at least 1 more squash out of it, hopefully. Now we come around here. Come on around, John. And my marigolds, at least this one, has made a comeback. It had died off completely brown, and then all of a sudden it started growing up again. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, there was another bush tomato plant here. It died off, so I pulled it out, and now it's completely devoted to the sweet basil, which seems to be making a comeback. In fact, it's doing more than making a comeback. It seems to be spreading itself. As we come over here to another one of my pepper plants, and you can see I've got a pretty healthy little baby basil tomato plant growing over here. I didn't know that basil would spread itself like that. So I'm going to let that grow. And my pepper plants have been my best producers. Of all the stuff I've got here, they've all consistently produced a bunch of peppers and continuously. So you can see this one. These turn red when they're done maturing. And so you can see that. So I'm going to let that go as long as it'll go. Come over here. Got some more mint that seems to be making a comeback. And so I'm going to let that go. Now this is where another tomato plant used to be. It was another bush plant. It was just like that one, those 2 over there. But for some reason, it never produced a tomato. It got good and bushy and lots of green. It would produce flowers, and the flowers would fall off. And never produced a tomato all season long. So finally, I just pulled it up and tossed it. So something else will get planted there, maybe for the fall. I haven't decided if I'm going to try to grow some fall crops or not. Then I got some more purple basil over here, and as you can see, it's making a comeback. So far, I haven't been bothered by the mysterious purple basil bandit recently, so maybe it isn't as strong as smelling as it was, but he might come back if it does make a comeback here. Then I got my yellow cherry tomato here. This is another one that has consistently produced all season long. I have had some problems with it in that what I'm having a problem with now is they're starting to split. But I still get enough of them out of here to add to my salads, so that's all I need. This is my other marigold plant, and it had died off, but it seems to be trying to make a comeback. And then we have my big orange pepper plant, and this one has consistently produced, and it has produced some really big, really nice really nice peppers. In fact, this one is ready to harvest, so I'm going to do that. So, as you can see, it's a nice orange pepper, and these are sweet. These taste a lot like a bell pepper, sweet bell pepper, and so you'll be seeing some of these later in a different video. And we come over here, and here's the other strawberry plants, and like I said, they're going dormant. So the next thing I need to do as far as my little garden goes is decide if I'm going to try to plant some fall crops, and if so, what I'm going to plant. I'm not terribly interested in planting, you know, things like kale or, you know, cabbage and that sort of thing. I might consider planting some winter type squash. I'll have to wait and see. But until the next update, this is Spec Ops 56 and my faithful cameraman John saying so long.
Great jumping catfish! Where did you find those monstrosities?